Thank you for being here. Today, I'm so excited to be talking to one of my favourite makeup artists within Australia. She boasts an incredible portfolio dealing with not only local but also international celebrities, to the likes of Ruby Rose, Jimmy Barnes, Cyndi Lauper, and of course our very own PM at the time, Julia Gillard. She has an incredibly strong background in not only editorial but also fashion, and has an incredibly strong signature look when it comes to using colour with her beauty work. So today I would like to chat with this particular artist and get the insider secrets for you guys, so you know what it takes to be at the top of your game as a makeup artist, and even to be represented by one of Australia's top agencies, which this artist is. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to Rachel Montgomery. Thank you for being here. It's so nice to meet you face to face.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really flattered.
No, look, I've been admiring your work for a really long time. As you probably noticed, I've been stalking you for a bit. So it's really exciting to be here, meet you face to face, but more importantly, to be able to share with everybody else some of your insider secrets and knowledge that you'd like to help others that are maybe getting started in the industry in particular, wanting to get to the stage of the career that you've worked so hard to achieve yourself. So it's really nice to kind of have you here. So maybe just to get started, could you share a little bit more about your journey to getting to where you are today? So what's your background, and maybe share what it was that made you get into makeup in the first place?
Well, I'm the biggest bogan in the fashion makeup industry, I think. I started my career running hotels, actually, pubs. And I did that for about 10 years. But I was always a creative person. When I was a kid, my interest in makeup was originally in special effects. And basically, I used to make myself look like I'd been beaten up with my mother's makeup, and the poor woman would come home and there's her child bandaged up. And so we had a lot of fun torturing her for years. And, I did this kind of thing, not sort of realising, we grow up and we look at the models, we look at the magazines, and we see the people behind the scenes, and you think, oh, wow, wouldn't that be amazing? And it all looks so glamorous, because, of course, you don't see what actually happens behind the photo, which, of course, is wonderful too. But anyway, so, I started my journey like that, and I draw and I paint. So I've always had that creative instinct, but I didn't really know what to do with it. And then when I finished high school, I applied to graphic design school and fine arts. Now, I was never a good student, and at that stage in my life, I was a bit near enough is good enough. And that was really something that I needed to learn and get better at. So anyway, I took the typical artist's response to that was, oh my God, I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be any good. I'm never going to achieve what I want to. Art's not for me. It's too hard. I'm obviously not as good as I thought I was. So I went and I worked. I left school, and I was working a lot part-time before I even left school. So I was making really good money, as you do as a casual. So, after that, I went and I just worked casually in bars, as a lot of, early 20s do. And then I guess because I am very naturally very ambitious, and it's not so much a competitive thing, it's more I don't know, I've got these ideas about what I should be doing, and we put pressure on ourselves. And so I went through from being a bar manager to learning how to operate the cellar, and then running the whole hotel. And looking back at it, I was very tough, and I thought, this is a great job. But I look back on it now and I think, and I hate to say this because women can do anything, but for me, I just thought, why did you put yourself through that? Because it's so counterproductive to sort of what I am and what I should do.
I think a lot of people can relate to that, though. I think we all need to go through that kind of experience to a certain degree to learn the things that we don't want.
Exactly.
In life, and to start to know ourselves a little bit better as well. It's really interesting now to be able to hear from somebody like yourself who's actually put in the hard yards to get your own version of the overnight success. So,
look, I don't want to take anything away from the Instagram generation. It's taken me a long time to accept it. And so what I've come to the conclusion with that whole social media thing is, whether we like it or not, we're in the middle of a fashion and beauty and makeup revolution.
Yep, 100%.
Okay, you cannot have millions of people following a trend and still sit back as a professional and go, because look, at the end of the day, we're a service industry.
Yep.
We all think we're rock stars, but we're there to serve the public. We're there to work for clients.
Yeah.
We're there to give them what they want. And every now and then we get a little bit of sparkle and we get a little bit of attention and we all go, oh, I'm so special.
One of the big questions that I get a lot from my students is wanting to know how they can get into, say, the editorial space and things like that. So where was it for you, or where was that tipping point where you realised that you actually could make a full-time career out of makeup artistry, and how did you achieve that?
Okay, well, I was working in the pub one day. Like I said, I had, friends, I'd do the makeups, whatever. Anyway, so a photographer came into the hotel to do, it was a bit of a dodgy shoot. It was for a men's magazine and they were doing a barmaid of the month shoot. Okay. Now, one of the girls that worked there, and they all knew that I did it, and actually the cellar man, John, if you ever hear this, I love you. He grabbed the photographer and said, she's a makeup artist. Can she do the makeup? Because of course it was a really cheap shoot. There was no makeup artist, and Gina had her makeup on anyway. But
good old Gina.
Yeah. So and Lisa Hogben, the photographer, who is an amazing photojournalist actually, and does a lot of work with the Indigenous community and works tirelessly with them. This was one of her money jobs that she had to do, and she was like, yeah, sure. And she really championed me after that, and we became friends. And although she wasn't working in the area of the industry that I wanted to work in, she really helped me understand a few things. And look, the work didn't come rolling in, and I continued to work in pubs for years after that, and still doing what I was doing. And it got to the point where I started to do a lot of wedding makeup. Yeah. And as we do, we start doing that sort of thing, and then we become more well known. A few years later, I was broke at this point, and I think this is really important for people to know. I was dead broke, and I really wanted to do makeup, and someone said to me, just look, go and study, go and learn. And I really wanted to learn and I wanted to study, but these courses are so expensive. And so what I did was I applied for a part-time course, and I had $100 as a deposit, and that was pushing it to even give that money up at the time. And look, I'm not a religious person, but I'm very spiritual, and I just sort of put it out there to the universe, and I said, look, if this is for me, this is going to happen. Yep. And it did. Whether or not that's the universe or that's my subconscious listening to me, whatever you want to call it, it's really important.
The point is you took action, backed yourself regardless of your self-doubts.
And I doubt myself still now.
Yeah, we all do. We all do.
So
but I think a lot of people, it's really nice to hear that, because I think a lot of people see those that they think have it all together and have made it, and they think, oh, they mustn't have any nerves, any self-doubt, anything along those lines. So it's really refreshing to hear somebody like yourself explain that for everybody else. So.
I never forget when I did an assignment, and it was a fashion makeup, and she put it up on the screen, and she blew it up, and it was a close beauty shot, and looking back it wasn't amazing. But she blew it up in the whole room, and she turned around and she said, "Fortune favours the brave."
Nice.
And I thought, I was so flattered, and I loved that, and she said, look, Rachel has just pushed it. She's had a go, and she's been brave, and it's paid off. That's the best advice anyone has ever given me, because I am fearful, like everyone else. I have anxieties, and I'm happy to tell you guys I'm a long time not sufferer. I deal with depression and anxiety, and I've been treated for it for several years. And I think there's a lot of artistic people out there that do suffer from this sort of stuff.
Huge.
And my thing, especially at this point in my life, I'm 45, and things are starting to change in my head a little bit, and I'm teaching a lot. One of the things I love to talk to students about is their insecurities.
It's a big part of our course. It's the number one thing I always say to people, you can go anywhere to learn makeup, but it's the confidence and the self-belief that's going to make the difference as to what you actually do with that information.
Makeup's not hard. Makeup is makeup.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, there's some incredible male makeup artists out there.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that they're at a disadvantage because they don't grow up the way we do as women. It's a real cultural thing for women. It's in our DNA, you know. And I think there's a bit of pressure there for women too, because if you're not interested in makeup, or you know, you need a professional to do it, sometimes you've got to tread lightly with that because everyone thinks they're good at makeup.
Yeah.
But the thing is with being an artist is make mistakes.
Yep.
And don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Talk to your client. Makeup comes off.
Yeah.
So if you make a mistake, big deal.
Yeah.
You know.
Really great advice. I love that one, that makeup comes off. Couple of quick ones. Quickly, what are your top 3 must-have items in your makeup kit?
Makeup Forever full cover waterproof concealer.
Love it.
I use that as an eye base as well as a concealer. It's incredible. Anything from Becca.
Yep.
Anything from Crown Brush.
Yes.
Which is a professional brand. And Lash Republic lashes.
Any advice for girls that are wanting to, maybe they've been in the industry for a while and they're wanting to get agency representation? Give us maybe the top 3 things that they need to have in order in their kind of arsenal before they even approach an agency, or how to get noticed?
So, when you're putting your portfolio together, don't put it together for yourself. It's not about you. Have a look at magazines. Look carefully at everything. Take yourself out of the picture and go, right, I need a natural look. I need a bronze look. I need to be out. The client needs to know they can trust you and that you're not going to make it all about you. Yeah. Look in magazines. It's got to look like how it's done in the magazines for a start. And if it doesn't, and if you can't see it in a magazine, do not show anybody.
Great advice.
Yeah. So natural look, smoky look, beach look, wet hair look.
Yep.
Believe it or not, the clients aren't as creative as you sometimes. They need to see it in front of them to know that you can do it.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing.
I always tell people.
Don't take it personally because the client has got 20 people behind them giving them pressure and then they're choosing the creative and they're trusting you, and you could blow a $20,000 campaign by not listening to them.
Yeah. For those that are going into building their portfolio, how do you prep for that and how do you choose your looks?
Okay, so my assistants always say to me, Rach, do you want me to do this the right way or your way?
Okay.
I do things my way.
Yeah.
I don't do face charts. Okay. I find that if I plan anything, unless I really have to and show the client and everything.
Yeah, so if you were, say, maybe trying to get yourself into a fashion show or something, then
of course, you have to treat it like, you know, you have to give the client what they want to see.
Yeah.
However, most of the time I go to work trying not to think about what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Because I can't decide on that makeup until I touch the model. And when I say touch the model, which probably sounds weird, I want to look at her, and when I'm looking at her, I can see the makeup happening. By looking at her contours, and that's super important.
So you really draw the inspiration from the actual face shape of your model, their eye colour, hair colour, skin tone, all those kinds of things.
Number 1 rule in makeup, follow the face and make the face be your guide. You can put the same makeup on 100 people and it will look different every time if you just tailor it to that person. And when I say touch the model, I stand behind them, I give them a face massage. I feel their face, and I'm into energy. Again, sorry, bit of a hippie. So I feel the textures and the contours on their face, and that helps me.
Excellent.
So.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your advice. I'm sure everybody else that's watching as well is going to get a lot out of this. So thank you again for taking the time. Now, just quickly, where can people follow you? Do you have Instagram or Facebook, or where can people get in touch with you?
Rachel Montgomery Makeup is my Instagram, and rachelmontgomery.com. My email is rachel@rachelmontgomery.com if you want to contact me, and rachelmontgomery.com website.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.